sitting in for Bill Press.
On the right, I'm Robert Novak. Join us again next time for another edition of Crossfire.
This is CNN NewsStand. Tonight, CNN and Fortune.
Unbelievable!
Tornadoes obliterating lives, neighborhoods, futures.
It took everything. You know, I have no idea how many years it'd take to get back to where it was.
When you have no assets and no collateral, how do you rebuild?
We understand there are two communities at least that simply don't exist.
From Oklahoma, Mike Fetcher has the questions you should ask and the answers you need to know if you're ever caught at ground zero.
Amid the devastation, an army of insurance agents is on the move.
What we do is we sell a promise, and this is where we keep that promise.
In Wichita, Kansas, James Satori follows a foot soldier into the heart of destruction.
People are just glad to be alive, and it makes it, I think people realize maybe what their priorities are all about.
And from Xenia, Ohio, Sharon Collins finds a ray of hope.
We had phenomenal help from the government and from everybody involved.
A town once devastated by tornadoes is now rebuilt and renewed.
Whether it's getting out the warning...
Tornado on the ground! Tornado on the ground!
Part of our goal is to keep people ahead of the storm.
or getting close to the action.
I picked up the camera and I started filming outside.
There are some surprising businesses spun out of our fascination with tornadoes.
It's incredible. It is huge.
Follow us into a whirlwind of profits.
The IPO heard round the world.
Last year, I knew it was the most profitable privately owned company in America.
A financial legend goes public. Goldman Sachs.
The firm's culture and its partnership are what has set it apart from the rest of the industry to this point.
Tonight, what created the Goldman Standard. All that on CNN and Fortune.
CNN and Fortune with Willow Bay and Stephen Frazier.
Welcome to this special live edition of CNN and Fortune. I'm at the newsstand at Borders Books in Los Angeles.
And I'm live in Atlanta at Joe Mugg's newsstand. And on newsstands anywhere tonight, headlines are about the devastating tornadoes in Oklahoma and Kansas. What do they have to do with business and finance? Everything, it turns out. Even before the storm clouds clear, entire industries are mobilizing, getting ready to direct millions of dollars to the storm victims. So for much of our focus tonight will be on where the money comes from, who gets it, and what others did to start new lives after tragedy similar to this week's.
76 tornadoes struck all the way from Texas to South Dakota. 45 swept across Oklahoma alone. Nationwide, 44 people lost their lives and nearly 800 were injured, making this the deadliest single outbreak of tornadoes since 1985. The destruction is massive. In Oklahoma, at least 2,000 structures were damaged or destroyed. Officials say the tornado that hit Oklahoma City traveled as far as 80 miles along the ground. Some storms cut a swath of devastation a quarter mile or half a mile wide. Insurance companies estimate the damages caused by the tornadoes may total at least $500 million. It's one of the most destructive series of tornadoes in the nation's history.
President Clinton has declared the damaged regions of Kansas and Oklahoma federal disaster areas, and that means relief money will soon begin to flow to tornado victims. But sometimes this money is just a temporary fix, and worse, it can even become an added burden. How's that? Here's Mike Betcher, just outside of Oklahoma City.
After the injury came the insult. One day after a monster tornado ripped apart Mulhall, Oklahoma, population 199, wary residents keep a close eye on another severe storm moving towards town. Perry Patterson, the town's banker and former Mulhall treasurer, will never forget the night of May 3rd, 1999.
What do you remember about that night? What did you hear? What did it sound like?
Oh, it sounded like several freight trains. You always hear the story about a tornado sounded like a freight train. This was multiple freight trains.
And you were against the safe in the bank.
Yeah, the vault door was locked with a time lock, so I got in the closet behind the vault and put my back against the vault wall. I figured that was the safest place in the building.
Patterson counted the time it took for it to pass, 25 seconds. When it was over, one woman was killed in a nearby farmhouse, and one man lost his arm.
When I stepped into the street, the debris, it was everywhere. The debris was in the streets as high as the buildings, and it was unnervingly quiet. My first impression was that I was the last one left. They were all killed. I couldn't see how anyone could survive it.
Tornadoes are a fickle phenomenon, destroying entire buildings, but leaving a computer sitting on a desk untouched, demolishing Mulhall's recreation hall, but skipping over the pool table, exploding a garage, but sparing the town's volunteer fire department truck. 5 years ago, Mulhall was named the second best small town in America. Now it has become a federal disaster zone, a town that's going to need a lot of help, especially since most people in town don't carry insurance.
We have a volunteer fire department, which raises the rates for homeowners insurance. So many of our residents are retired, elderly, on fixed income, and the price of homeowners insurance is secondary to food and groceries and paying the bills.
Shane Estes is one of the uninsured and one of the homeless. He had just made the final payment on his house, owned it outright. Now this. He's the owner of nothing. You made your last payment?
Yep. Dropped the insurance. Couldn't afford it. Got rid of that now. Now I ain't got a house now. It's just like starting all over from day one. You know. What can you say? What can you do?
But Estes and others in town soon discover that they qualify for emergency federal disaster.
Do you have insurance?
The American Red Cross is deploying on foot, going door to door in Mulhall, determining the extent of damage to each house and telling the owners that they could qualify for federal aid.
You need to go down to the office and talk to them about there, because there could be some help to get your house back and livable.
The Red Cross will report their damage assessments to the Federal Emergency Management Administration, called FEMA, which will eventually decide how much help each person in Mulhall gets. In Shane's case, it will take a lot of money.
Yet you been in the house?
No, I haven't been inside the residence, but we're just going through on the outside and seeing the damage, and a lot of it is so evident that you don't even have to go inside the house.
Like most people in town, Shane's immediate need is a temporary place to live until he can rebuild. Mulhall's uninsured homeless qualify for up to $10,000 in temporary housing benefits. The money is a grant, doesn't have to be paid back, and is dispersed in installments for a maximum of 18 months. During that time, Mulhall's victims can apply for an emergency small business administration loan of up to $40,000 to replace personal property and up to $200,000 to repair or replace a home. Those who qualify can repay the note over 30 years at an interest rate of about 4%. Those who don't qualify can receive one final $13,600 grant from FEMA. But what about a businessman like Phil Descher, whose tractor repair shop was demolished?
It took everything. I mean, we're salvaging a lot, but it won't be the same. You know, I have no idea how many years it'd take to get back to where it was.
Descher can apply for an emergency low-interest SBA loan of up to $1.5 million if he doesn't qualify for a regular commercial loan. Although Descher figures he'll need about $120,000 to replace his building.
I'm sure there's several businesses that won't rebuild, but I have intentions of it. I hope to be able to.
But towns like Mulhall are made up of much more than homes and businesses. There is the school, which was badly damaged, and the $500,000 water tower, which was knocked over like a bowling pin. More federal money will be needed and granted to repair and rebuild these important parts of Mulhall's infrastructure, especially since Mulhall takes in only about $1,500 in sales tax revenues each month. In other disasters, victims have complained that federal disaster help is too little and comes too late. Right now, Mulhall is still in a state of shock and doesn't want to consider those things. But one thing is intact, its will to rebuild, federal help or not.
That's my home. That's my hometown. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going north, south, east, or west. I'm staying wherever I'm at.
Uninsured homeowners and businesses have been getting disaster loans from the Small Business Administration since 1953, all totaled more than $26 billion, and 90% of those loans have been paid back. The director of that loan program and all SBA disaster relief says this week's damage in Oklahoma and the other Plains states is the worst he's seen during an 18-year career.
The devastation in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma reaches for miles. Once the same was true in Xenia, Ohio. In 1974, that town was destroyed in what remains one of the most violent outbreaks of tornadoes in U.S. history. Today, Xenia has recovered, but their struggle to rebuild was extremely difficult. As Sharon Collins reports, the memories are still as fresh as today's headlines. Xenia, a name that comes from the Greek word for hospitality. It's a quiet little Midwest city where people still know their neighbors and they don't need daily traffic reports. It's never that bad. If you drove through here, you might think it would be a nice place to raise a family. Safe, tranquil, a slice of Americana. But on April 3rd, 1974, Xenia was turned upside down. It was in the center of what meteorologists call a super outbreak. That's when multiple tornadoes occur in an area at the same time. The one that hit Xenia killed 33 people. 10,000 were left homeless. More than 1,400 buildings were destroyed or damaged. Before Oklahoma, it was ranked the 7th most costly tornado in U.S. history.
And I was just, praying to the good Lord. I said, let my family be okay. And I said,
Claude Lyons was a police lieutenant back then. As he sifted through the destruction, he had no idea if his family was alive.
It was a terrible feeling until I found out about my family. I can't imagine what it would have been like if I'd have found one of them dead. I just, it's unimaginable. I can't imagine what that would be like.
His home was in one of the worst hit areas, a subdivision called Arrowhead, where 75% of the homes were destroyed. Unlike most of us, people in this town really understand how the folks in Oklahoma might feel. What is it about life after a tornado that will never...
Many people, 25 years ago, still haven't gotten over the terror of the tornado. And they have the sirens that ring every first Monday of every month, and I wish they didn't sometimes, because I think it keeps the people stirred up, and maybe it wouldn't. This thing is going to bring back a lot of memories. And it won't bring back the good memories, it'll bring back the bad memories.
Bill Eichmann's clock is still frozen in time.
But that was the time the power went off, so that was...
It was 4:42. Ordinarily, all the businesses would have been full of customers, which may have meant even more deaths. But in those days, everyone closed on Wednesday afternoons, so a lot of people were home.
I was frying chicken. I had the nicest big skillet full of chicken breast.
Keith and Joanne Sitters were among those who lost their homes.
He said, head for the basement. And I just had enough time to stick my head out the door, and I saw it coming over the high school.
The Sitters were lucky. Their home was well insured. Joanne worked for an insurance agent.
As we say, if you never need it, you're lucky. But the time that you know whether it's any good is when you have a loss.
Of course, I worked with John, and we had people that come in that were underinsured, and so they learned a lesson from that.
According to the Insurance Information Institute, it's a common mistake. As property values go up, homeowners often fail to increase their premiums. Lyons is one of those who's glad he did.
I don't mind telling you, when I bought this house, I paid $12,000 for it.
Wow, what year was that?
That was 1966. I paid $12,000 for it. I think my last insurance bill I had on the thing was like $112,000.
As Xenia began to rebuild, there were other problems.
We actually put a moratorium on rebuilding in certain areas of the city for several months. So we could take some time and look at it and say, is this the zoning that we still want for this particular area?
There were zoning changes which made a lot of people unhappy. Some businesses were told they couldn't rebuild in the same location. Some neighborhoods became commercial districts. It all took a lot of time and patience.
Where things should be located, where the junior high, where I went to junior high, was completely destroyed. And so that was, a decision was made, and it's now a senior citizen center. A new building was built. Where I went to high school, that was destroyed, and that's where junior high went. So those are major, major decisions that were made at that time.
After the tornado, more than 2,000 people were at least temporarily out of jobs because the industries they worked for were damaged or destroyed. And one of the toughest things facing a community is the fact that some companies do not rebuild. This used to be the site of Xenia's largest employer, a furniture manufacturing company. It had 250 workers, but instead of rebuilding, it moved to another town.
We lost a lot of the population when the tornado came through because there's a lot of people said, I'm not going to rebuild there because I'm afraid another tornado would come along. And we kind of took the attitude, you know, if you're going to live in the Midwest, there's going to be tornadoes. I don't think you can hide from them. So, you know, so, well, it's kind of like lightning. Hope it won't strike in the same place twice.
But a lot more stayed. They rebuilt their homes, their businesses, their community. It's a different town now. A lot of landmarks are gone. Neighborhoods have changed. And in many homes, there is a much greater respect for the things that really count. The 1974 tornado in Xenia, Ohio, was part of a storm system that produced 148 tornadoes, cutting across 11 states, killing more than 300 people and causing what today would total $1.3 billion in damage. We'll be right back.
Still ahead. Making money by predicting and preventing disaster.
We will have more tornadoes in Oklahoma, and the station that can provide the best information as to when those tornadoes will occur, that's the station that's going to come out on top.
NewsStand, CNN, and Fortune is brought to you by the Document Company, Xerox. Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge.
What's wrong with Alex? Alex, why so blue?
I wish I was blue. Everything here is so colorless. I need color to express myself.
Spoken like a true business professional.
I am? I mean, I did?
Sure you did. Every business needs color. Helps them communicate what they know.
So why can't we have some?
Because they need it more down there. See? Keep it in color, you make the point. It gets results.
But color is so hard to get, and it takes an eternity.
Not when you can get Xerox color on the desktop.
Or put it right in the hall.
You can even get it at 40 pages a minute.
Guess they really do need it. But couldn't I just wear this?
Maybe on casual Fridays.
Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge. The Digital Document Company, Xerox.
Well, I've decided. Tonight's the night I'm going to pop the question.
So did you get the ring yet?
No. I had a better idea. I wanted to get her something that says, I'm really in this for the long haul. It's a train. What? I'm making a commitment here.
Call toll-free 1-877-99-TRAIN for a free Train Home Comfort Guide and learn how to choose the right air conditioning and heating system for your home.
Posted pop-up notes pop up one at a time from the new dispenser. Now you'll always know where your Post-it notes are. So you won't go nuts looking for nuts. Post-it pop-up notes. What did you ever do without them? Another 3M innovation.
We now return to CNN and Fortune with Willow Bay.
As we've seen, many of the people in Oklahoma's small towns didn't have insurance, but luckily thousands of others did. Insurance companies mobilized special catastrophe teams, sending hundreds of claims adjusters into the devastated areas. Checks are being cut on the spot for policyholders who have seen their lives literally blown away. From Wichita, Kansas, here's James Hattori.
The storm's toll here in the Wichita area, 5 dead, dozens injured, 8,000 buildings damaged in Sedgwick County, and thousands still without power this morning.
2 days after a series of tornadoes roared through Kansas,
they lost everything. Their trailers are gone.
this is what remains of a residential area stretching more than 10 miles along Seneca Street in South Wichita.
First tornado out here.
This is the tornado responsible for the devastation, captured on home video. Weather officials classify it as having been at F4 strength, with winds up to 260 miles per hour. It left at least 5 people dead in Wichita and suburban Hayesville. Kansas, like Oklahoma and Texas, lies along Tornado Alley, so severe storms are not uncommon. But the destruction here is among the worst ever.
While the human toll, including 2 people killed at this Wichita trailer park, is certainly the most tragic loss, the financial losses are simply staggering. According to industry figures over the last decade, insurance claims from windstorm, hailstorms, and tornadoes totaled $1.2 billion for Kansas and Oklahoma alone. This week's storms could easily add another $1.5 billion.
This was the dining area, and it's just, everything's just gone.
Ruthie Hosner's home is among the casualties. She bought it as an investment for her children, using insurance money from her husband's death 18 months ago.
I asked earlier today, why me? And I was told, why not you? And to deal with it and be grateful that we're all okay and nobody was hurt or killed. It's a house and it can be rebuilt.
Hosner wasn't inside when the tornado passed. Her tenants, Martin Stevens and Mark Groover, took cover in a basement across the street.
I could see debris flying by the back door. That stuff sounded, well, like he said, described the other day, sounded like about 300 people outside beating on the house with baseball bats.
This is my home. It's what mine and my children's future was about, and it's just in a heartbeat, it's just gone.
Hosner's home is a total loss, but it was insured.
You can see where it has just totally, there's just waved, and the windows are out here. The top plate on the roof is gone.
Steve Parent, an adjuster for State Farm Insurance, was on the scene yesterday afternoon.
I've seen a lot of wind damage. I've seen some tornadoes where maybe a farmhouse or 2 have been hit, but nothing like this where a whole metro area has been basically demolished in a 40, 50 block area.
After determining Hosner's home wasn't worth salvaging, Parent agreed to pay her full replacement value, plus gave her $10,000 right on the spot. You come in and you write a check for the whole thing, property, like as if you were buying the house?
Well, in this case we did, because it was not salvageable. It would cost more to repair it. It had been condemned. It would cost more to repair it than to replace it. We'll be working with her on personal property and trying to get a list of that together, but we at least gave her some money there to go ahead and get her immediate needs met, clothing, food, shelter, that sort of thing.
Wayne Stewart is managing claims for State Farm. He's heading a team which will total 75 adjusters in the Wichita area. How do you determine who needs the most attention among all these people who are seeing damage?
Well, in some cases, we do it by driving up and down the streets and simply asking people, are you insured with State Farm? And if we see one that's bad and we find out that that's the case, then we'll stop and we'll assist those people.
For now, Hosner and her 2 children are staying at a local motel.
Yes, ma'am. I'm wanting to know if you guys do, like bulldozing. My home was hit by the tornado.
Although the insurance company has agreed to pay for rebuilding, she still has to clear away all the debris.
It's a total loss, and I'm trying to find somebody to come in and take down the rest of the structural walls that are left and to help me clean off the lot.
The city is holding 15% of the insurance money back as a deposit to make sure property owners don't simply abandon their homes. Ruthie Hosner has taken the first step. The demolition crew arrives tomorrow.
I really didn't think much about insurance until a year and a half ago, and it opens your eyes, when you have a devastation like that.
State Farm Insurance Fire and Casualty Company is the biggest home insurance provider in the country. It insures 1 out of every 4 homes in Kansas and Oklahoma.
I'm an engineer, an architect,
A CEO who needed,
had to have,
notebook computers.
preloaded with a powerful, easy-to-use, reliable business operating system. So I called Dell. Dell pre-installed Windows NT Workstation on custom-built Latitude notebooks.
Dell pioneered this direct way of providing solutions, which is good. It's genius.
Be direct. Dell. Dell notebooks use Intel Pentium 2 processors.
Cars aren't the only products that make the Michigan economy cook.
24 tax cuts in the last 6 years has Michigan businesses sitting very comfortably.
Site Selection magazine has diagnosed us #1 in the U.S. for attracting new business growth. The networking's great.
Call 1-800-946-6829 for information about Michigan's great location.
Today, it's not enough to be just computer smart. You've also got to be state smart.
The word is about. There's something evolving. Whatever may come, the world keeps revolving. They say the next big thing is here, that the revolution's near. But to me it seems quite clear that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Oh, come on, you can't stay another day? There he is. I wish I could. I'm just so crazed with the new job. I don't have time to figure out my finances. We went through the same thing when we got this house. And with the new baby coming, we needed help. So what'd you guys do? Called T. Rowe Price. Really? Yeah, it was great. It really helped simplify things. Give him a call. Okay, I will. What are big brothers for, right? Ah, come on, get out of there, you. Bye. Bye.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years.
Tornadoes ripped the heartland.
Thank God we were saved. I feel sorry for all those people who lost everything.
Tragedy in Colorado. Crisis in Kosovo. Wherever breaking news happens, CNN is there. Live with correspondents on the scene reporting the latest developments. Then recap all the day's dramatic events with instant special reports. Your most reliable source for global coverage is CNN, the world's news leader.
When we return.
For TV stations on the plains, tracking severe storms better than the competition is part of business, a costly part. Prices of high-end weather technology have reached the stratosphere. TV meteorologist Rick Mitchell.
It's in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000. How many employees is that? But we have to have Doppler radar. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, they'll cut staff before they cut the Doppler radar.
It's a stone tower with really nothing flashy about it at all. No fancy art, no expensive, Chinese rugs. I mean, it really is, it's very discreet and very pedestrian almost.
And the message is what? We're serious about business, not about
We make
traffic.
money, the firm makes money, but don't you go spending in it and show some flashy lifestyle and attract a lot of attention because of it.
Stock market was mixed today with pharmaceutical companies.
Index up 18.
Technology stock.
Something's going on.
Some on Wall
You
Street
guys investors? Can you get us some peanuts or something? You ever use that Discover brokerage online? Hot nuts?
In other news, bartender Jack McGee purchased the Pinsac Company in a deal worth $43 billion. McGee says he has no plans to quit bartending, but will continue
No charge for the nuts.
financial empire, which includes...
Of all the stories you've come to know, the most important by far is your own. With no other story, you care so much about how it turns out. Are you just waiting to see, or are you writing it the way you want it to go? At Jefferson Pilot Financial, we're doing more than providing financial services. We're helping you write the story of your life.
All right, listen up. Coach's plane is stuck in Idaho. But since it's our first bowl game, Coach,
Get in there and hit somebody now. Go! No, somebody get him!
They didn't come to play today.
Presenting video conferencing.
Do I have to go in there and do it for you?
Because sometimes it's not just what you say, but how you say it. Kinko's. Express yourself.
Thursday, she's using her name to stand up for Afghan women. CNN and Entertainment Weekly at a new time. Thursday, 8, 7 Central on CNN.
In 28 years, Olinger Travel Homes has never had this large a selection of diesel pushers. Choose from Newmar's Mountain Air, Dutch Star, and Country Star, featuring the exclusive flush floor super slides, ducted air conditioning, and unparalleled Amish construction. Only Newmar comes standard with the large 8.3-liter, 300-horsepower diesel. For the same price, get more power, more quality, more value. Remember, Olinger Travel Homes is more than low prices. Olinger Travel Homes is...
Come a-runnin'. It's the season to make a splash and celebrate. It's halibut season at McGrath's Fish House, and that means something special's cooking. The Alaskan Halibut Platter with halibut fish and chips and McGrath's specialty, halibut parmesan. Served with fresh garden salad and hot sourdough bread, all for just $8.99. Enjoy the very best of halibut season now before the sun sets on the season. The Halibut Platter, just $8.99 at McGrath's Fish House.
Ross Perot on Larry King Live tonight.
Now back to CNN and Fortune with Will O'Bay and Stephen Frazier.
Money swirls around a disaster area in ways obvious, such as cash for rebuilding, and ways obscure, such as industries based on the threat of a storm. For example, rain or shine, millions of dollars are spent on technology for detecting tornadoes and for sounding the alarm.
We pull away to show you some of the damage and some of the reports as to what's been happening. Real quick, before we go back to Jennifer, let's show First Alert Doppler radar just one more time.
At the heart of life in Oklahoma City
There was the first explosion there.
is the weather.
This monster's about to cross the road.
One moment there are homes there, a second later absolutely nothing.
There's an old saying about weather, and that is that every day the lead story is weather unless something else comes along. It's that important to people. There's nothing else that just touches so many people every single day.
For TV stations on the plains, tracking severe storms better than the competition is part of business, a costly part. Prices of high-end weather technology have reached the stratosphere. TV meteorologist Rick Mitchell.
It's in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000. How many employees is that? But we have to have Doppler radar. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, they'll cut staff before they cut the Doppler radar.
In a recent study of viewers in the top 20 television markets, 92% said they tune into their local weather before any other local news, even breaking news.
The weather business is driven by technology, and if you don't have the technology, especially in a city like Oklahoma City where you need to cover the weather to win the news, if you don't have it, you're not going to win.
And one corporate giant is doing just that. Last year, Lockheed Martin invested an estimated $820 million to update the National Weather Service's NEXRAD radar system. Here's how it works. A sensor in the ground bounces a beam of energy off of raindrops and collects information about wind and atmospheric pressure, among other indicators. That data is sent through a modem to 4 hubs that process the information, and then on to subscribers who see maps and symbols. There are more than 100 sensors. Each covers a circular area with a 200-mile radius. Leslie Lemon worked on the Lockheed project.
Based on cost, based on quality of the technology produced by the company, Lockheed Martin won the procurement.
Lemon says the project has prompted many local weather departments to join the high-technology age.
This technology is extremely important because it gives the meteorologists the ability to monitor short-term changes.
And the ability to be number one. KOCO's Rick Mitchell was one of the first to break the news of the tornadoes.
You know, we had this huge tornado move through the area. We live in Tornado Alley. Just because it happened 2 days ago doesn't mean it can't happen again. We will have more tornadoes in Oklahoma. More lives will be threatened. And the station that can provide the best information as to when those tornadoes will occur, where they're headed, that's the station that's going to come out on top.
Technology helping people get away from danger. Then, in stark contrast to that impulse, are businesses that are growing by catering to thrill seekers, promising to put tourists as close as they can get to harm's way. For years, Charles Edwards has run a business called Cloud9, and for $2,000 a person, Edwards offers vacationers 2 weeks of driving around the Midwest in pursuit of twisters.
This is a night worth thousands of dollars to tornado chasers.
There's so much unknown about storms and about weather.
Charles Edwards has been in this growth industry longer than anyone else, 4 years.
But the computer here tells me exactly where I am at all locations. I can zoom in to get great detail.
Edwards, a former computer network technician, advertises his Cloud9 tours on the internet and has to turn customers away. The weather junkies can't say no.
You know, a lot of people might look at this as, you know, how can you be taking advantage of, you know, people's misery with the tornadoes? But the fact is the tornadoes are going to be there whether we're there or not.
Tornado number 4! Every storm is different. I've even seen some video that kind of looks like a graceful dancer, just dancing along.
Cloud9 is Edwards' full-time job now.
Yes, everybody gets a T-shirt with the tour. They can buy extras if they want them for gifts.
For 2 weeks, he takes 30 customers on a non-stop tour through the Midwest, searching for tornadoes. He requires a waiver in case of death.
People think I'm crazy, but a lot of people, I think, are also a little bit jealous that I'm doing this.
We have a scanner, 2-meter radio, CB for car-to-car communication.
Edwards is outfitted with expensive tracking gear to find the big ones, which he was chasing 2 days ago.
For me, it's been good business. It's kind of mixed emotions there, but the way I see it is I couldn't prevent the tornadoes. In fact, I was able to spot and report the tornadoes where they were and possibly save some lives.
He doesn't make a fortune at Cloud9, but this small-time entrepreneur is happy in a dangerous trade.
I'm not going to get rich off of doing the tours, but the way I figured, I'm a big success because I found a way to make a living at what I love to do.
Cloud9's 1999 tour season starts in 2 weeks. It is sold out every place on every trip for the entire season.
Tornadoes have always fascinated us, whether it's the horror of their real-life devastation or wonder at the havoc they wreak on the big screen. Remember the tornado in The Wizard of Oz? It was really just dust and cloth. Nearly 60 years later, the tornadoes in the movie Twister were much more frightening. We wondered how close to reality Hollywood's technicians are getting. So here's Bruce Burkhart.
Bill Joe, ground speed is increasing. Get out of it as fast as you can or she's going to bury you.
The movie Twister, Steven Spielberg's blockbuster summertime hit of a few years back. The film portrays a team of scientists trying to go where no man or woman has gone before. I think this is where they're trying to get their instrument into the tornado. Get the instrument right into the funnel. Dr. James St. John, atmospheric scientist at Georgia Tech, helped us separate fact from fiction.
Scientists have been studying tornadoes forever, but still nobody knows how a tornado works. We have no idea what is going on inside because nobody's ever been able to take scientific measurements from inside the funnel.
Is it true?
We don't know exactly what causes the tornado to form, but we do know what's going on. There's low pressure inside the tornado, which creates the vortex to spin up.
So if I'm driving in my truck and a cow flies over my windshield, chances are
You're in deep trouble.
that I'd be airborne too.
Yeah, you would probably be airborne too. Chances are pretty slim. If the wind's strong enough to pick up a cow and blow it by, it's probably going to push your car or your truck, in this case, off into the ditch. Oh, there are many cases where they found cattle, miles away from where they originally were. Usually they're dead by the impact. There are stories of fish being sucked up from ponds into thunderstorms by tornadoes and then falling fish several miles away.
Whether it's Hollywood's version or the real thing, the goal of science is to gather enough data to somehow make the unpredictable predictable.
We've actually gotten pretty good at defining, these box areas where they're likely to occur. When we put out a tornado watch, they're doing a pretty good job of that right now. But as far as saying, okay, within this box, 3 hours from now, a tornado is going to occur in Fulton County, Georgia, we're not there yet, and I don't foresee it in my lifetime.
But next,
Step into one of Wall Street's toniest offices.
No fancy art, no expensive, Chinese rugs. I mean, it really is, it's very discreet.
Go behind the Goldman Sachs legend when CNN and Fortune continue.
People, today's agenda, the information age.
What happened to the industrial age?
No more living in the past. Today, it's what you know that matters. Look, he's got half a good idea over there. She's got the other half.
We get the picture.
What are we supposed to do about it? Make it simpler for people to exchange ideas.
They'll need a digital office.
With new software.
Relax. I've got us apartment down there.
But they only make...
Not anymore, they don't.
Oh.
Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge. The Digital Document Company, Xerox.
Xerox uses the internet to share knowledge through documents. BarnesandNoble.com uses it to share literary ideas. The Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureau uses it to share a little piece of paradise. They all share the same internet service provider, PSINet. For thousands of businesses worldwide, the internet starts here.
Michael, I say, Michael, would you like to hear a bird call?
Sure, Foghorn.
With MCI, a bird can call for just 5 cents a minute every Sunday and 10 cents a minute all week long. Now that, my friend, is a beautiful bird call.
The bird thinks he's a comedian.
Now stop stealing my material.
Call 1-800-Sundays to sign up.
Don't get me riled.
NewsStand, CNN's primetime news magazine series, 5 nights a week at 8 Eastern. CNN and Time, hard-hitting issues. People Profile, celebrating 25 years of People magazine. CNN and Fortune, the dynamic world of business. CNN and Entertainment Weekly, showbiz trends and pop culture. Great. CNN NewsStand, 8 Eastern, 5 nights a week on CNN.
Welcome back to CNN and Fortune with Willow Bay.
From the headlines in the Plain States to the headlines on Wall Street, here's our special in-depth stock of the week. This week, the investment bank Goldman Sachs went public in what became the second largest initial public offering of stock ever. The IPO seemed like a sure bet for easy profits. So we made Goldman Sachs our stock of the week. The Goldman suits were on hand to ring the opening bell Tuesday. Their company was issuing 69 million shares of stock and could have found buyers for at least 600 million shares. From its initial price of $53 a share, Goldman's stock shot to more than 77, a gain of 46%. Then it settled back to near 70. Goldman's made nearly $3.7 billion from this sale and says it wants to use the money for strategic acquisitions. We wondered, who might they buy?
The buzz on Wall Street is that Goldman's going to go for a large retail mutual fund. They're going to go for a Fidelity. But what I'm hearing from sources inside Goldman is that they're actually going to look for something a lot smaller than that and something that has a lot more institutional and high net worth assets associated with it.
Goldman Sachs lost $1.25 a share today, closing at 69.5. But all of the excitement about the IPO made it a perfect time to pay a visit to Lisa Endlich in London. She's a former Goldman vice president and author of the recent book, Goldman Sachs, The Culture of Success. Last week, James Attore spoke with her about Goldman's history and this very private company's motivation for going public.
Last year, I knew it was the most profitable privately owned company in America. And this includes Levi Strauss, the United Parcel Service. This includes household names. Goldman Sachs was more profitable than any of them.
It's that kind of success that's made Goldman Sachs a Wall Street legend.
Being a partner of Goldman Sachs is the highest accolade on Wall Street. It is something people aspire to. It has allowed Goldman Sachs to recruit and maintain the very best people in the industry, because there is nothing else like it.
Nothing else like it because Goldman was Wall Street's last great partnership, producing superstars like analyst Abby Joseph Cohen. Partners who owned the firm and had no obligation to shareholders, the press, or other outsiders. That freedom allowed Goldman a culture of privacy, even secrecy, that many believe was critical to its success. A culture reflected even in Goldman's discreet New York headquarters. No sign, just an address.
It's a stone tower with really nothing flashy about it at all. No fancy art, no expensive, Chinese rugs. I mean, it really is, it's very discreet and very pedestrian almost.
And the message is what? We're serious about business,
yes.
Not about
we make
traffic.
money, the firm makes money, but don't you go spending in and show some flashy lifestyle and attract a lot of attention because of it.
It's a philosophy started in 1869 when Marcus Goldman, a German immigrant, opened a short-term lending firm on New York's Pine Street. 2 decades later, he invited his son-in-law, Samuel Sachs, to join the company, and Goldman Sachs was born. The family firm got its first big break in 1906, a public offering for a cousin's mail-order business, Sears Roebuck. Until then, buying stock meant companies with physical assets like steel and railroads, which could be liquidated. But Goldman taught investors a new way of valuing companies based on cash flow.
This is a major shift in thinking of the stock market.
Huge, huge. It changed Goldman Sachs' ability to underwrite, and everyone else on Wall Street's ability to underwrite companies that did not have major physical assets.
With that innovation, Goldman Sachs became a top Wall Street firm until the crash of 1929, when its highly leveraged investment trust collapsed. It dropped 99% of its value, or $300 million, a loss equivalent to $3 billion today. It nearly killed Goldman Sachs.
It had no customers for the next 5 years. It made no money for 15 years. I mean, it's almost unthinkable in today's terms that an investment bank could exist for 15 years without making any money. But they did, in fact.
The company spent decades on the long road to recovery.
The Ford Thunderbird for 1956.
Then in 1956, Goldman scored a huge coup, convincing the Ford Motor Company to go public. It was one of the biggest initial stock offerings ever, $650 million worth, an issue that would be worth nearly $4 billion today. Goldman again took Wall Street into new territory when a trader named Gus Levy devised block trading. For the first time, Goldman brokered sales of millions of shares in an instant transaction. Levy took the reins at Goldman in 1969 and set out to hire aggressive young traders like himself.
Early in the morning, before school started, he would have high school seniors come in to the trading floor and play cards with him.
Poker?
Poker, bridge, any sort of game where the strategy involved, where there was remembering the cards, where he could watch people's minds and see how they thought and see how analytical they were. And those who were good players got hired as traders.
In the 1970s, Goldman took its next big gamble, going global. The move into international markets was hardly risk-free. The costs of setting up shop overseas were formidable. Plus, financial centers like London weren't exactly eager to begin sharing business with U.S. banks. Still, the decision to go global proved pivotal for Goldman Sachs, transforming it from a great American bank into a worldwide powerhouse.
Goldman Sachs is the #1 banker in London in many businesses, the #1 banker in Europe in many businesses, and has really gone into China quite heavily.
The efforts in China paid off when Goldman took the state-owned telephone company public, a record-setting deal worth nearly $4 billion. At the top of its underwriting game, Goldman forged a new, less certain business, led, ironically, by the point man for U.S. economic policy today, Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin. Previously, as co-chairman at Goldman, Rubin pushed the firm into risk arbitrage, using sophisticated analysis to bet the company's own assets on high-risk trades.
Bob spearheaded some of the more risky trading businesses, the proprietary trading businesses, in which the firm did so well in the 1980s and the 1990s. So both of those brought a lot more risk to Goldman Sachs, and with it an enormous jump in profitability.
It fueled phenomenal growth at Goldman during the 1980s and made the partners incredibly rich, boosting their capital more than tenfold from $200 million in 1980 to $2.4 billion in 1990. But there were damaging setbacks, too. In 1987, partner Robert Freeman was arrested and later pleaded guilty to insider trading. In 1995, Goldman paid out $250 million to settle lawsuits stemming from business dealings with the late British media tycoon Robert Maxwell, though the firm denied any guilt.
Goldman Sachs' name got dragged through the mud in this. Goldman Sachs was written about in almost every major news publication in the negative light because of their involvement with Robert Maxwell.
Then in 1994, perhaps the biggest setback, when Goldman lost hundreds of millions of dollars on bad trades. A third of the partners quit, taking a third of the firm's capital with them. An event so traumatic, it seemed inevitable. The days of Goldman's cherished partnership were numbered.
I believe that the turmoil of 1994 scarred the firm in such a way that it believed it needed a steady source of capital, permanent capital, that something like 1994 should never happen again. And the way to keep something like that from ever happening again, one of the ways, was to take permanent capital from public shareholders.
Just about all of Goldman's 13,000 employees, from the senior partners down to the receptionists and janitors, are sharing the wealth from the IPO. They received shares based on their annual salary and seniority. The employee's stake can range in value from around $10,000 to nearly $200 million. Feel like you've been working for the wrong company? We'll be right back.
Here in America, home means different things to different people. But we're pretty much agreed on what it means to own a home. It has something to do with stronger communities, safer streets, better schools, and the hopes and dreams that America was built on. So whatever home means, one thing's certain, it's a lot more than just four walls and a roof. For a free guide that can help you on the path to home ownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation.
Michael? Coming. Hi. Oh, made a little extra.
I guess you heard Barbara was away.
Visiting Katie at college.
Yep.
First year, huh? How's Matt?
Made the dean's list.
Great. I know our Josh is only in third grade, but I don't know how you guys did it. Put him through school and all?
We invested with T. Rowe Price.
Really?
Yeah, and they helped us figure out how much to put away. They've got this college planning kit.
On my way to my mom's anyway.
Hey, thanks.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years.
Love knows no boundaries, sees no distances. You can miss a loved one across the ocean as much as a loved one across the way. Now call them both with up to 30 minutes free every month for life. Switch to Sprint now for a world created around you. A world where you can call Canada, Western Europe, and Australia for up to 30 minutes free every month for life. Get low international rates for a low monthly fee. And domestic calls for just $0.10 a minute. Call Sprint now. 1-877-832-6353. For low international rates, domestic calls for $0.10 a minute. And get up to 30 minutes of calls to Canada, Western Europe, and Australia every month for free. For life. And watch distances disappear. Isn't that the point of contact? Call 1-877-832-6353.
That's all for tonight. Next Wednesday, he gave up a high-flying career with Delta Airlines for the fortunes of war. We follow CARE's chief financial officer into the refugee camps of Albania. Join us next Wednesday at 8 Eastern.
Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, chasing tornadoes from behind a lens. We look at the media's appetite for amateur pictures of disasters in the making. Join Judd Rose and me for CNN and Entertainment Weekly. I'm Willow Bay in Los Angeles.
I'm Stephen Frazier in Atlanta. We'll see you next week. And remember, this is our time from now on, 8 Eastern. Good night from the Newsstand.
To purchase a transcript of this program, please call 1-800-CNN-NEWS. Visit us at cnn.com/newsstand. Join Fortune online at fortune.com. On the newsstand now, how to win big on the net. Fortune asks Amazon.com's Jeff Bezos and other E-CEOs for their secrets of success.
Every day, you face issues that are full of risk. But today, you have 3 issues that are absolutely risk-free. They are the 3 risk-free issues of Fortune magazine, offered exclusively to you as a CNN Fortune viewer. Call now for your free trial issues, packed with information to help you get ahead professionally, financially, and personally. This no-risk offer is exclusively for CNN Fortune viewers. So call now for your risk-free issues.
I'm an engineer,
an architect,
a CEO who needed,
wanted,
had to have
notebook computers,
preloaded with a powerful, easy-to-use, reliable business operating system. So I called Dell. Dell pre-installed Windows NT Workstation on custom-built Latitude notebooks.
Dell pioneered this direct way of providing solutions, which is good. It's genius.
Be direct. Dell. Dell notebooks use Intel Pentium 2 processors.
Closed captioning provided by 1-800-US-SEARCH. Locate a long-lost friend or a family member. Who do you want to find? Find anyone. 1-800-US-SEARCH.com.
Tonight on Larry King Live, Ross Perot will be the guest for the hour, taking your calls tonight, 9 Eastern, on CNN.
The road doesn't know if it's bumpy, or rainy, or icy, but Bravada knows. Road stupid. Bravada Smart. Start outsmarting the road with Bravada Smart Track. It automatically adjusts to changing road conditions with no buttons or levers. Once again, road stupid. Bravada Smart. Bravada by Oldsmobile. Start something.
Every morning I have a different routine. I go see different clients. I drive roughly 75 miles a day. When I suggested to my wife, Alexis, she said, "What, are you crazy?" I said, "Honey, listen, we need a dependable car for Luigi." The warranty has made me very confident. I've had a whole history of terrible cars. I would park it down the street because I